Following a few days of heavy snowfall, one will likely encounter unforeseen hardships and disasters in China. Whether one travels by high-tech or traditional means, survival can be a problem. This occurred on the night of February 3rd into the morning of February 4th. Affected by the snow, thousands of vehicles were trapped on the highway from Wuhan to Jingzhou for tens of hours. People used crowbars and hammers to smash the ice for self-help. They even burned tree branches to keep themselves warm. February 10th, 2024 is the traditional Chinese New Year. People who work out of town usually rush back home for family reunions, as Chinese New Year is the most important holiday for Chinese people. As a result, train stations, high-speed rail stations, and long-distance bus stops across China have been crowded in early February, marking the annual traffic peak. As a side note, the Chinese Communist Party, or CCP, has intentionally diminished the cultural significance of the traditional Chinese New Year, which is to honor and give thanks to the divine. The CCP renamed it to be the Spring Festival. Thus, the traffic rush during this period is also known as the Spring Break. As the holiday approaches, a series of warnings for snowstorms and freezing temperatures have been issued in central and eastern China. China's Central Weather Bureau issued the first orange warning for freezing on February 1st, 2024. It was the highest level of warning issued since 2010 when the warning scale was set up. This orange freeze warning has been issued for 3 consecutive days. The freeze warning scale is defined as yellow, orange, and red, with red being the highest level. The round of rain and snow reached its strongest impact stage in the 3 days following February 3rd. Hebei, Henan, Henan, and Anhui provinces were the concentrated areas of freezing rain and heavy snowfall. This freezing weather covered a wide range of areas. 11 provinces issued disaster-level emergency responses of low temperature, rain, snow, and freezing. Look, in the country's central city, Jingzhou, the snowfall forecast map looked all black. Meteorologically, snowfall, rainfall plus snow are all considered part of the precipitation processes. Snowfall is usually marked gray when it is less than 5 millimeters, and the larger the snowfall, the darker the color. Officials from the Jingzhou Meteorological Bureau explained that the meteorological marker for more than 30 millimeters of snowfall is the color of black. Even the Central Weather Station marveled. It's the first time such an outrageous forecast map has been seen. This chart forecasted cumulative snowfall from January 31st to February 5th for Jingzhou. Normally, the depth of snow accumulation is 8 to 10 times the amount of snowfall. The Comprehensive Dispatch Command Center of China's Ministry of Transport disclosed that at least 137 highway sections across the country were closed from February 3rd, involving 85 expressways, 17 ordinary national highways, and 8 ordinary provincial highways. The worst situation happened in Hebei province. Red blizzard warnings were issued for several cities in the province. Local residents claimed that they had seen drizzle, rainstorms, and thunderstorms, but they had never seen freezing rain. Because of the freezing rain, vehicles were covered with ice. People tried to pick up the ice with their fingers but failed, and the vehicles were like being wrapped in a layer of glue. Chinese media have reported a series of chain collisions on several highways due to the weather. We don't have that footage, but have a look at this instance. One can imagine how easy it is to have a chain of collisions on super slippery roads. Easy it is to have a chain of collisions on super slippery roads. That was just the beginning. Train stations in many cities played similar broadcasts.
It's crowded. Everything is shut down. From Shanghai to Suzhou, Beijing, and so on, they are all out of service. Not only the train stations, but also the long-distance buses. It's 4:34 p.m. today, February 4th, at Shanghai's Hongqiu Station. My train is already 5 hours late. I don't know exactly when I'll be able to leave.
Train stations in several major cities in China were packed with people. Those who just wanted to be home had nowhere to go, waiting in despair. Those who had already boarded the train didn't do any better. Many people were starving because they didn't bring much food with them. This train left at 1900 on February 3rd. It was already 3 a.m. on February 5th and was still stuck in traffic. Passengers reported that most of the cell phones on the train had run out of power, and the food they brought was all eaten up and gone. The carriages were full of people. Both ends were all garbage. The bathroom was locked. Having been stranded for more than 20 hours, 6 passengers collapsed already. Here is a train heading north from Chongqing in southwest China to Hebei province in the early hours of February 3rd. Affected by the low temperature, rain, snow, and freezing weather, the train had a power failure, causing it to stop running for several hours. According to its passengers, the train had been stalled for almost 7 hours and was currently without water, electricity, or heating.
The
train has been stalled for almost 7 hours with no water, no electricity, and no heat. The light was turned on just now. There was no light for the previous 4 hours. Come on, those who advised us to get off the train, let me show you. We are stuck on a bridge. See, there is no one around. China's railroad system, including the high-speed rail, is a system many Chinese take great pride in because it ranks top in the world. This is despite the many risks and quality issues we have pointed out in the previous episodes. China has built the world's largest high-speed rail or HSR network. More than 80% of major cities are connected by HSR, making it the country with the longest mileage of HSR in the world. However, how is the quality of these high-speed rails? Let's watch a video. This time, China's high-speed rail is being tested by freezing temperatures and blizzards. Chinese media reported that during the freezing temperature and heavy snowfall in early February, the high-speed rail was largely paralyzed or shut down. The few trains that were in operation were asked to reduce their speed. For example, this is a scene on February 4th at the Wuhan high-speed train station. The high-speed rail was shut down, and many passengers were stranded due to the heavy snow. Another example is that on February 4th at the Beijing-Guangzhou high-speed rail line, only a small number of trains were allowed to run at restricted speeds. The vast majority have been cancelled. The report explained that after the formation of freezing rain, the high-pressure line above the rail, that is, the contact network, was frozen. The frame on top of the rail in contact with the contact grid is called a pantograph. The high-speed rail can be powered while coasting when the pantograph is connected to the contact grid. After freezing rain and ice, the contact between the pantograph and the contact grid was poor, and the electric current received by the train was uneven. It resulted in sparks and lightning on the pantograph, and this could lead to damage to the pantograph over time. Here is a high-speed rail struggling to move. Since the high-speed rail couldn't get a stable power supply, it couldn't operate normally. Furthermore, in serious cases, it may even lead to a chain effect and paralyze the entire power grid. Under such circumstances, areas close to or even in the path of the power grid could be dangerous. In such a situation, there is no way for the high-speed rail to transport passengers, and the icy conditions on the rails also affect the brakes. The faster it goes, the more friction it needs to stop. Obviously, brakes won't work on icy tracks. Despite the paralyzed high-speed rails, the Chinese media, which always has a knack for turning negative stories into positive press, began to sing the praises of the traditional diesel-burning trains, which are painted green. They claim that the green trains were truly a force to be reckoned with. Yet, China's green trains have been used as the preferred means of transportation for students, migrant workers, and other low-income earners. So, on Chinese social media, inspiring images of green trains running alongside high-speed rail have been seen. Some local governments have used drones to swing heavy objects over the power grid to shake off ice and snow. While the official media has been applauding the move, it's clear that confidence is low. This kind of drone operation isn't enough to jumpstart China's massive high-speed rail system. Along with the high-speed rail, there are struggling new electric vehicles, which also rely on electricity. Someone on Chinese social media asked, "Who is the most miserable Chinese person at this time?" The answer is the stockholders who were stuck driving new energy vehicles on the highway in Hebei province in the middle of a blizzard. It's a pretty accurate description. Speaking of stockholders, as a side note, in 2024, most of China's stockholders will find that the amount of money that they have invested in the stock market has shrunk by 60% compared to 2021. Let's take a look at the highway situation in Hebei province amid heavy snowfall. On February 5th, an electric car owner stranded in Hebei province told the mainland media China Business Network, "The 520-kilometer road normally takes only 6 hours, but I have been stuck here for nearly 30 hours, and the temperature is -8 degrees Celsius or 17.6 degrees Fahrenheit. The electric car loses its power even when it doesn't run, so I sit in the car and wrap myself in a blanket." According to the video footage provided by this driver, he got on the highway at 10 o'clock on February 3rd. His power was about to run out at 10 o'clock on February 5th. The closest charging station was still 4 kilometers away, and there were already cases where vehicles ahead needed to be manually pushed. Electric vehicles have been failing one after another in the heavy snow in Hebei province. China's Sohu.com simply titled the story, "Hebei's heavy snow tore off the last piece of the cloth of shame for electric vehicles and the owners regretted it." The article reads, "The driving range of electric vehicles has been dramatically shortened due to the reduced battery capacity and increased energy consumption in cold temperatures. In addition, due to road closures caused by heavy snowfall, car owners could not access charging stations, which seriously impacted the driving range of electric vehicles." One owner told overseas Chinese media that she drove from Guangzhou to Hebei province. On February 2nd, she drove very slowly on the roads to Hebei province. There were frequent traffic jams and accidents. The traffic jam started when she came out of the service area, and it had been 3 hours. Her battery could only last 4 hours. Now she was afraid to turn on the heat for fear of power consumption. She said, "I just want to go home." Frozen and snowy conditions in one part of Hebei province have attracted the media and social media attention in China today. Why? Because Hebei province is the transportation center of China, connecting virtually all major rail and road hubs. A breakdown of this intersection is equivalent to a major breakdown of the nation's transportation. Some netizens have reported that except for a small number of green traditional trains, all railroads in Guangzhou that pass through Hebei have basically stopped running. The situation in other provinces should be similar. A netizen reported that those driving through Wuhan, the capital of Hebei province, were in an even worse situation. The tragedy was no different from the disastrous 2008 snowstorm, and they had to rely on their resilience to survive. It's true indeed.
It's still snowing in Hubei province on the Macheng Road. We've been stuck here in a traffic jam for more than 12 hours since this morning, and the vehicles aren't moving much. Here is the middle of nowhere. There's no exit, even if we want to get off the highway. I've been here all day. There's no hot water, no toilet.
Since last night, the car hasn't moved at all. Oh, it's over. I can't get off the highway. At first, the drivers thought that a one-day traffic jam would be bad enough. It's the limit. It's in the category of finished, done. But the day passed and nothing changed. It's been 24 hours and I'm stuck here in traffic. It's really cold on the highway in Hubei province. It's really cold. When they looked back, 24 hours wasn't a big deal. It's not moving at all. It's been 40 hours on the Hubei highway. Do you think there's hope after 40 hours? Brothers, I'm here in Shaogang of Hubei province. The traffic jam lasted for the third day, and now it's still not moving. It's said to be clear soon, but it's been a while, and nothing is happening. I don't know when we can start moving. Please hurry up and get moving. I've been here for 3 days now, no food and drink. We are stuck here. What are we supposed to do? Who's going to save us? Netizens describe the scene on the highway in Hubei province as being jammed up as far as the eye can see. Even the emergency lanes were blocked. One large vehicle driver told overseas Chinese media that he had been stuck on the highway for more than 30 hours. He ran out of supplies that he had prepared. Now he had to start boiling snow water to drink due to a lack of water. Some people climbed over the highway fence to go to nearby villages to buy food. Others have been stuck on the road for more than 50 hours and are so anxious that they can't help but cry. Drivers trapped on the highway urgently need help. They are without water and food in cold weather. The crisis hasn't been lifted since our press time on February 6th.